So I just want to give you a quick overview and run you through a few tests that I have carried out on my new Rode video stereo mic with rycote shock mount. So this is the new version. I did have the old version, which I sold pretty quick because I wasn't really going to use it outdoors, and I realized pretty quick indoors it was a bit silly when I really need to do mono recordings. But I do want to do some outdoor recording, so I have rebought this, and it happens to be the new version. Now, the only easy way I can see that you can tell that you are buying the new version rather than the old version is in the descriptions of the new versions. They seem to, alongside it, say it's with the rycote shock mount, and that seems to be the only thing to differentiate them. However, they are very different microphones. So, a quick overview of the microphone. It actually has all new mics compared to the old version. So it is new, and not only new mics, they say it has an improved wind filter. However, they still sell their dead kitten alongside that to improve further the wind reducing properties. And having used it outside very quickly, I would say you definitely want to use that if you are seriously trying to reduce wind noise. So, a quick overview. The main features are that it comes with a high pass filter. Now, they say it has a two-step filter, but yeah, I mean, that's pushing descriptions a bit, because you have the off position, then you have the on position. The on position they're calling the first step of the filter, but that's only flat, so there's no filtering going on at all. The only filter you have is the high pass filter when you switch it from flat to the end. The high pass filter is said to filter from 75 Hertz down. Now, it doesn't stop all noise, all the bass below 75 Hertz. It's a gentle roll-off bass filter, so it's not night and day. It is less effective than I was expecting, but it certainly does roll off those rumbling noises that you will get below 75 Hertz, but it won't kill them dead. So they say two-step filter. To my mind, that's a one-step filter, isn't it? There's only one actual bit of filtering going on. You then have a gain button. So you have your zero button, the zero gain in the center. You then have your plus 20 decibel gain. Now, the idea is that as far as possible, you leave it at plus 20 so that your camera preamp is doing the minimum work it needs to do. The idea being that will reduce the noise of the preamp that the preamp induces, because they're normally not very good in a camera. In extreme circumstances, if it's really loud and you're still clipping with the preamp down to the minimum, you switch it back to zero, still clipping, you switch it to the minus 10 decibel in really, really extreme circumstances, I guess. It runs on a 9-volt battery. The battery is in this little compartment. They say the battery is in this little compartment. They say the battery should last for 100 hours. One 9-volt battery. The other major feature that they are describing alongside this is that it has a brand new integrated rycote shock mounting, and as you can see, it certainly does, but it's not really integrated as such to my mind. It's a clip-on, and it simply clips off if you want it to. You can see exactly how it works if you do that. It's one piece of molded plastic, basically, isn't it? But I think they call it some special plastic, but it's one piece, but the two bits will move independently, giving it its shock mounting properties. It works pretty well. It's very sensitive to movement, and then you can simply clip that back on. By the way, it does have a 3/8 of an inch mounting thread on the bottom for a boom pole, and that just clips back on like that. There you go, and that's back on like that. So those major features of it. The actual specs that they are quoting are that it runs at between 40 Hertz and 20,000 kilohertz. The output impedance is 200 ohms, maximum sound pressure level 134 decibels, the equivalent noise level, the noise floor 18 decibels, the weight is 116 grams, and a 10-year warranty if you register it with their website. Now, they do a much more expensive version that's is kind of similar in size, well, kind of similar in look, but is more than 3 times the price, so like £150 versus £500. And the major, although they are both rated at 40 Hz to 20,000 Hz, there are major differences. The more expensive version actually has an additional high-pass filter at 150 Hz, so you can start bringing those bass levels down much earlier. It has a high-frequency boost of 6 decibels, which is, they say, in the range of speech, so it'll bring the speech out. The maximum sound pressure level is 143 decibels on that one as opposed to 134. The other big difference is it has a 12 decibel equivalent noise level as opposed to 18 decibels on the Rode, on this video stereo mic Pro, as they call it. They do have a bit of a funny naming scheme. It is easy to get muddled up between them all, especially, you know, whether it's stereo and mono. The other difference is the more expensive one is more than twice the weight at 300 grams, and it also will run on phantom power as well as a 9-volt. Anyway, it's out of my price range and my needs. I just wanted to improve my camera audio a little bit for when I use the camera audio, and I don't want to be syncing in post. I have had a use of it. Am I happy with it? Yes. Does it take the internal mic to a whole new level? Well, it kind of does, but it's not a whole world of difference. I'm pretty happy with it. I think maybe it's a little pricey for what it is, for the difference you get, but you certainly get a noticeable difference. But to someone who is listening for that difference, now, I think if you played A/B with someone who's, you know, not into media stuff that much, they probably wouldn't even notice the difference. But the difference is certainly there. And I'm just going to take you through a few quick tests that I have carried out with the mic. First of all, I tested a quick speech test. You know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 5. So this is my speech test. This is the audio using the internal microphone of the G80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the audio using the Rode stereo mic set to plus 20 decibels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just to get a quick overview of exactly what's going on using these graphs. So when using the internal mic for the speech, it's clearly cutting off around the 12,000 Hertz on the internal mic, whereas on the Rode mic you can clearly see it's going all the way up to about 17, 18,000. So that's a huge chunk you're missing if you use the internal mic over the Rode mic on the upper end, and then at the base, if you look around, say 30 to 70 Hertz on the Rode mic, it's averaging, it's around 69 is the average there. Whereas go down to the internal mic, you can already see there's a whole chunk of that bass missing, and 30 to 70, it's hovering around 78. There's almost a 10 decibels in it. Given, and don't forget, I've used the same audio settings when I was using both the Rode mic and then the internal mic in terms of the gain on the camera. So it's very obvious, not just to listen, but you can see exactly what's going on. If you use the internal mic over the Rode mic, you lose a huge chunk of high end, and you lose all the body to the sound at the lower end. I then took the mic and my camera, so these are all mounted on the G80. I then took the mic and the camera outdoors. There wasn't a lot going on. I just wanted to get an idea of the difference in ambient sounds picked up. And it was quite windy, so you'll notice the difference between what the camera does in the wind and what the the Rode does in the wind. I did have the camera's wind filter deactivated and the limiter deactivated. So this is a quick comparison of the outdoor ambient sounds, which includes adding my dead kitten to the Rode to hear if that makes an additional difference as well. Next, I tried it, it's a stereo mic, so I did want to see what kind of difference it made if you're trying to pick up some stereo sound. So I just, a quick down and dirty test, I've put a couple of speakers out in stereo and I've recorded that. So, quickly looking at what's happening with the music when played outdoors in stereo and on the internal mic, the cutoff around 11,000 hertz. The Rode's all the way up to say about 16,000. Obviously, it's only capturing what the speakers are giving out, and bear in mind I'm only using JBL Flip 4s, so it's not the last word in hi-fi, but the difference between the mics is pretty obvious in the high end. And then again at the lower end, I did have the dead kitten on the Rode, so I know it's supposed to be acoustically neutral, but most people would say you're going to lose some of the sounds. You can't just put something over it and be completely neutral. But anyway, bear in mind it is with the dead kitten, and even then it's very clear. The lower end, with the internal, the cutoff for the bass is around what, 69, around 60 hertz, whereas with the Rode it's no real cutoff right down below past the 30. Although the speakers only the microphone's only rated 40 hertz to 20,000 hertz. It does appear you do get a little bit more down at the low end. I mean, all that is probably just noise, but it's clearly doing something below 40 hertz. So around the 50 hertz, you're getting some 63 decibels, 60 hertz, now down to 69. So even just on a quick outside test with dodgy speakers, it's pretty obvious, you know, the difference. The high end again and the low end and the body, you know, there is a world of difference between the internal and the Rode microphone, as you would hope for the money. So I wanted to test the high pass filter. So I have cheated a bit, you know, I wanted to do this quickly. I've taken some recording of road noise. I've played it via a decent speaker, and I've recorded that, and also that helps me to do a proper A/B comparison, because the noise between having the filter on and the filter off was exactly the same. So in this next comparison, the traffic you see isn't what I've actually called it. I just put that in for effect. But this is a quick and dirty test of just what that high pass filter is doing. This is the graph with no filter applied, so no high pass filter is on, and the filter is meant to work below 75 Hertz, so around here. So you can see there's a big spike there around the 60 Hertz, either side of the 60 Hertz mark, peaking about 36 decibels. High pass filter on, so it's kind of subtle. It's not cutting everything off below 75 Hertz, but it's certainly reducing. So if you look at the 70 Hertz, 5 Hertz is here. So the peak now is around 39 decibels, whereas before it was around 31. So about 8 decibels of reduction there in that bass, but it's rolling off gently. It's obvious as you go from graph to graph, but it kind of takes some A/B listening to really hear what the filter is doing. It does not cut off everything below 75 Hertz, which I was kind of expecting it to do. It's a gentle filter, so it's rolling off the sound below 75 Hertz. So I hope you got something out of that. I'm happy with it. I certainly wouldn't have liked to pay any more for that, and you know, it does add like £20 on top if you get the dead kitten, but for something that's going to give me a bit more of the ambient sound, it's going to a bit more of the feel of the surroundings where I'm actually recording. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. But maybe I thought I was getting a little bit extra out of that. I mean, it's not their top of the range, is it? But I guess for what it is and what you have to pay for this stuff these days, I'm fairly happy. Thank you.